Hi, welcome to another reading session. Today we will be reading Bully Bill, which looks like this. If you don't already have the book, I will put a link to the Google Drive that contains all the reading resources me and Tess have been using throughout the online videos, and also it should be on the Facebook page, I believe. So that's how you can access the book. And we'll just do what we normally do, and we'll read through the book. I'll pick up on any difficult words that you might not understand, and you can write that down, maybe learn for later. And I'll also ask you some questions at the end just to check your knowledge about the story itself. So again, this is Bully Bill. And we are going to start from this page here. So the page is of Bill the Bull, looking very scary and strong. So we'll get started. Farmer Fred had just bought a new bull. He named him Bill. Bill was a strong and handsome bull with great horns. He was very big for his age. Farmer Fred got Bill the bull loaded into the trailer and headed back home to his farm. When they arrived, Farmer Fred said, "Bill, welcome to your new home." Bill just snorted and tossed his head back to show off his impressive horns. I'll move on to the next page now. This was all new to Bill, as he was raised in a very small stall, and his new home was very different. He had a lot to explore. Bill stood on the hill and watched all of the barnyard animals. He thought to himself, "I am the biggest animal on Farmer Fred's farm. No other animal has such great horns." So, we'll start from the beginning. A bull, as you can see, Bill is. So this obviously is a very cartoon version, but this animal here is a bull. And that is just, if you know what a cow is, it's a big male cow, basically. Very strong animals, they have the horns, quite scary. And that's what a bull is. It's like a big male cow, very strong animals. And then further down that page, it says the word handsome. You've probably come across this word quite a few times. It's quite a commonly used word. So handsome means good looking. It's particularly used for males. So you would say that man is handsome, that boy is handsome, that kind of thing. It's not often you would call a female handsome, but it's not unheard of. You still could. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just typically used to call good-looking males, give them a compliment, basically. You're handsome, which is saying that they look good. And then we have the beginning of the final paragraph on the first page. Farmer Fred got Bill the bull loaded onto the trailer. Loaded means that it's carrying. Loaded means that when Farmer Fred put Bill the bull onto the trailer was now carrying a heavy load. It was carrying a heavy weight. So that's kind of what it means. So when they loaded Bill the bull onto the trailer, they used the word loaded because he's so heavy, he's so strong, he's so big, that it was such a load, it was such a weight. And then towards the end of that last paragraph on that first page, we have the word snorted. So this means that Bill the bull made a sudden kind of explosive sound from his nose. And this is what bulls do in real life as well. So they kind of, if you think of when you sniff up, it's like the opposite of that. So like, I don't know if you'll be able to hear it, but it's like so that is what snorted means in this context. It can mean that you go as well, but I think this is what bulls tend to do more often. So in this context, it's probably like outwards. That's what bulls are very known to do. Like, that's the sound they make the most, I think. So that's what snorted means, making a noise through your nose. And then tossed. So he tossed his head back to show off his impressive horns. So tossed means throw. So he threw his head back. So present tense is throw, past tense is threw. And because this is tossed, it's past tense, so we'll say threw. So Bill just snorted and tossed his head back to show off his impressive horns. So he threw his head back like that. He threw his head back. Now on the second page, on that first line, it says, "This was all new to Bill as he was raised in a small stall." Raised, this means that that's how he was brought up. So from being a young bull to being the big strong bull that Bill is, he was raised, he grew up in this small stall. And a stall, sometimes it means shop, but that's not what it means in this context. So stall is an individual compartment for an animal that's in a stable or a cow shed or something like that, and it's enclosed on three sides. So it's like a very, very small room within a shed, within a barn, within a stable. So usually they would have kind of three walls, so two there, one behind, and then half a wall here, so the bull or the horse or the cow or whatever it might be can see out and can see people, can get fed. But yeah, it's quite a small space for an animal, and that's how Bill the bull was raised. That's how he grew up. That's how he's brought up in a small stall. So now he's thinking, wow, look at all this space I have. Okay, then let's move on to page 3, which looks like this. Bill chuckled at the chickens as he slowly walked up to them. They were so small and they didn't have horns. As Bill approached, the chickens clucked. The lone duck ducked as Bill almost stepped on her. Next page. Bill lowered his head and quickly shook it from side to side right in front of the chickens. "I'm Bill the bull, and I'm bigger than you chubby chickens," he said in a deep voice, "and I am the boss of the barnyard." Bill the bull frightened the chickens. They rapidly ran, flipped, flopped, and flew to the safety of their cosy coop. This made Bill the bull laugh loudly. He was having fun. Excuse me. So let's go back to the first page, well, the third page. It says Bill chuckled at the chickens. Chuckled is just another word for laughed. I don't know if a lot of you might have heard of that actually, because chuckled is used a fair bit, but it's not a word that's used too often. But it means laughed. So Bill was laughing at the chickens. And then we have the second paragraph on that page. As Bill approached. So approached means that Bill is getting nearer to the chickens. He is getting closer to the chickens. So if he is walking towards the chickens, he is approaching the chickens, he's getting closer to the chickens, he's getting nearer to the chickens. So that's what approached means. You're just getting closer to the thing that you're walking towards, in this case the chickens. Then we have the lone duck ducked. So this is, I'm going to spend some time talking about this bit. So let me just tell you what lone means. Lone just means alone, so isolated. They don't have anyone around them. So the lone duck means that this duck is on its own. And if you look at the picture that it's shown, I'll just try and zoom in a little bit. This is the duck. There, that's the duck, and the rest around them are chickens. So that's what it means by lone, because there aren't any other ducks. That duck is the only duck that's there. So that's why they're saying lone duck. Even though it's surrounded by chickens, it's the only duck there. So then we have the lone duck ducked. Okay, this, I don't want you to get too confused about this. I'll try and explain it as best I can. So the duck ducked. So duck and ducked are two completely different words. They have no relation to each other whatsoever. A duck is a bird that you'll see on ponds, you'll see on lakes. So they are water birds. And the picture that I've just shown you from the book, the one that has the bit of the green face, that is a duck. It's an animal. So duck is the bird, the animal. And then it says the duck ducked. Like I said, they have no relation to each other. It's really unfortunate that they've put these two words together. So ducked means that you lower your head or your body to avoid something. So you might do it to avoid being hit. You might do it. That's all I can think of really. To avoid, you just do it to avoid something. So I'll show you what ducked means. Or kind of thing. So it says the lone duck ducked as Bill almost stepped on her. So the duck is ducking because she's worried, or he's worried, that Bill is going to step on the duck. So the duck, the animal, ducked. Okay? I really hope that makes sense. I just needed to differentiate between duck and ducked because it's quite unfortunate that they've put those two words really close together, because I don't understand how confusing that could be. But I hope I've made that quite clear. Okay. Then the next page for words that you might find difficult. So, Bill says, I'm Bill, the bull, and I'm bigger than you chubby chickens. Chubby means plump, round, fat. So he's basically calling these chickens fat. That's what he's meaning, chubby. And then he says, I am the boss of the barnyard. A boss is someone who's in charge. So someone who will rule the farm, someone who has control over all of the other animals. Someone who will be in charge. So that's what a boss means, and that's what Bill is wanting to be. He is wanting to be in charge of all of the other animals on the farm, purely because of his size. Then we have Bill the bull frightened the chickens. So frightened means that Bill made them scared, he made them anxious, he made them afraid. So that's what frightened means. He made them scared, afraid, anxious. Then they rapidly ran. Rapidly means very, very quickly. So because Bill has scared them so much, they have ran really, really quickly away from him. And that's what rapidly means. It means very, very quickly. Then we have the word coop. And in this sense, it means a pen or a cage. I think it's easier if I say cage. So a cage in which, you know, birds live, like hens, chickens. That's where they're kept in farms. I don't know if there's a picture of one in this book, actually. It doesn't look like it. So it's a cage, kind of, or a little house for the hens and the chickens, and a place for them to live. And so that's where they are running to. They're running back to their coop. So it's a cage in which birds like hens and chickens are kept in farms. Now let's start reading the next page. We're here. Bill saw some plump pigs moving in the mud and decided to play a prank. As he approached, he said loudly, "I heard Farmer Fred say that he needed some bacon for breakfast and ham for dinner." He then laughed loudly and tossed his head around, showing off his great horns. Next page. This frightened many of the pigs, and they proceeded to their pen for protection. The biggest pig, named Porkchop, walked up to Bill and said, "You are a very mean Bill. You are a very mean bull, Bill." Sorry. Bill snorted a reply. "Well, you have a big flat nose, a tornado tail, and pink ears. Also, you are dirty and smelly." Then Bill lowered his head, snorted a great snort, and shook his horns at Porkchop. Okay, quite a lot of words there. So let's go back to the previous page. So Bill saw some plump pigs moving in the mud. Plump, as I said before, because I've mentioned plump already, it means chubby. So it means chubby, round, fat. And that's what plump means. So if you remember, I was giving you the definition of chubby, and the definition of chubby included the word plump. So plump is chubby, chubby is plump. Then the end of that first little paragraph on that first page, we have the word prank. And this is a practical joke or a mischievous act. So if you're trying to play a joke on someone, that would be a prank. And that is what Bill is doing. So the farmer hasn't really said that he wants bacon for breakfast and ham for dinner. Bill is just saying that to the pigs as a joke, as a prank, because he's wanting to wind them up. He's wanting to scare them. Then on the next page, we have the word proceeded, and that is in that first paragraph near the top of that page. So proceeded means to begin a course of action, or you do something after something else. So the pigs proceeded to their pen for protection. So proceeded means that they started to go towards their pen, and They did it after they were frightened. So just to give you the definition of proceeded again, so it's to begin a course of action or to do something after you've done something else. So the pigs are walking towards their pen. That is the course of action. That's what they're starting to do. And they've done that after they've been frightened by something by Bill. So that's what proceeded means in this context. They have started this course of action to walk towards their pen or run towards their pen, it doesn't really say. And they're going to their pen for protection, which just means safety. So they're wanting this protection from their pen away from Bill, to be safe, to feel like they can't be hurt by Bill. And then when Bill is insulting the pigs, he says, "You have a big flat nose, a tornado tail and pink ears." A tornado tail is right. Okay, so pigs have curly tails. You can see in the picture that generally pigs have really curly tails, so tight curly tails. And Bill is using that to insult the pigs because he thought he'd pick something that's also twirly, curly. So he picked a tornado, and a tornado is like a natural disaster, and it's a violently rotating wind, which when it goes through places where people live, it causes a lot of destruction. So it's a violently rotating wind, and because it's rotating and curling, that's why he's calling the tails that, because the tails are also curly. I hope that makes sense. Normally you wouldn't use tornado as an adjective, as a descriptive word, but Bill has decided to here. So I just thought I'd describe what that means there, because it might be difficult to follow, especially if you know the definition of tornado but not what it means in this context. So that's what it means there. So let's move on to the next page. Porkchop was a wise old pig and knew what Bill was doing. He wouldn't be bullied by any bull, not even Bill. Now Bill, the bullying bull, was expecting Porkchop to mush through the mud and proceed to the pen for protection. But Porkchop just stood there looking at him. Then Porkchop said in a soft voice, "You are a very mean bull, Bill," and walked away. Next page. Then Bill saw some sheep in the meadow. Bill began to walk across the big barnyard towards them. When he got there, he was met by Roger Ram, the leader of the flock. "I'm Roger Ram, rejoicing at meeting my newest neighbour on the Farmer Fred's farm," he said in a very polite manner. Bill ran at Roger Ram, snorting and shaking his big horns, and said, "I am Bill the bull. I am the boss of the barnyard." In a split second, Roger Ram rammed Bill the bullying bull between his big horns. There was one word on that first page I've just read there, the previous page, and it's wise, and it's at the top. So Porkchop was a wise old pig. And this means that Porkchop has a lot of experience, knowledge, and good judgment. So he's probably lived a few years. He's probably had a lot of experience with this kind of thing, and he is wise because of it. He's very knowledgeable. He knows what he's doing. He knows why Bill is behaving the way he is. And so he's not that afraid because he's kind of seen it all before. And that's what wise means. Then on to the next page. The There are quite a few difficult words on here that I'll go through. So, meadow. That's at the top. That's in the very first sentence. Then Bill saw some sheep in the meadow. A meadow just means grass. So it's grassland, a piece of area that's full of grass. As you can see on the picture, it's all grass, and that's why it's called a meadow there. Then we have the word rejoicing. So this is a tricky word. I'm Roger Ram, rejoicing at meeting my newest neighbour on Farmer Fred's farm. Rejoicing means great joy. So Roger Ram is very, very excited, very, very happy that Bill has joined them. And so he's rejoicing, he's very happy, he's joyous. And that's what rejoicing means. And then at the end of that first paragraph, we have the word polite. So this is behaviour that is respectful and considerate of other people. So Roger Ram is currently being very respectful of Bill, the bull. He's talking to him very nicely, he's respecting him, he's being considerate of his feelings, he's being considerate of him. So that is what polite means. So Roger Ram is behaving in a way that is respectful and considerate to Bill the bull. And then we have the phrase split second. And so split second means that something happened very, very, very quickly. So it's a very, very brief moment in time. So in a split second, Roger Ram rammed Bill the bullying bull between his big horns. So in a very, very short, very, very, very short space of time, this happened. So it didn't take long for Roger Ram to decide, right, I am going to ram Bill the bullying bull. So that's what he did, and he said it, and he decided to do it very quickly. And it was very oh, I've lost my page, sorry. There, sorry. And so it was very, very quick decision, and it happened very quickly. And then rammed means that you clash very violently against something, very hard, very aggressively. So Roger Ram has these horns, and he used those horns to, like, he kind of did this with his horns and ram into Bill the bull. And he did it violently, he did it aggressively, he did it with a lot of force to try and hurt him as much as he could. So that's what rammed means. Okay, next page. Bill the bullying bull looked at Roger Ram and said, all that white curly hair might give you lots of flair, but you ram like a ewe. Then Bill backed up, started to paw at the ground with his hefty hooves, snorted seven snorts, shook his horns, lowered his now lumpy head, and Roger Ram and the others retreated from the meadow. Bill, the bullying bull, was proud of what he had done. Next page. All the barnyard animals were afraid of Bill. He was either threatening them with the size of his big horns. Sorry, I read that wrong. He was either threatening them with his size and big horns, or making fun of the way they looked. It was not a pleasant day on Farmer Fred's farm. I'm going to call him Bully Bill, said Henrietta Hen. Okay. Now this page, the previous page, there's a word on there, you, and it's spelt E-W-E. So you pronounce that you, but it doesn't mean like you. It means a female sheep. So E-W-E, you, means a female sheep. Then we have the word hefty. So in this sense, it's hefty hooves, and it means large and heavy. So Bully Bill has very large, heavy hooves, and they're calling them hefty because they're so big. And then we have the word retreated. So Roger Ram and the others retreated from the meadow. So that means you move backwards, so and kind of withdraw. So because Bill has scared the sheep so much, they are retreating. They are moving away. They are moving back away from him. They are withdrawing. Because they're scared of him. They don't want to be rammed by his horns, so they are moving back, they're moving away. Then on this page we have the word threatening, and this means, so I have the definition here, having a hostile or deliberately frightening quality or manner. So threatening means to have a hostile or deliberately frightening quality or manner. So that is what Bully Bill is doing. He is intentionally being cruel to these animals. He's very hostile, he's not very approachable at all, and he is purposely trying to scare them. He's trying to scare these animals, and that is what threatening means. He is purposely going out of his way to scare these animals. Now I'll move on to the next page. That's not nice, responded Roy Rooster. It's being a bully yourself. Well, we will work on something to stop his bullying, replied Toby Turtle. Roger Ram said, I don't know what we can do. I rammed him and he called me a you. Next page. Dorothy Duck said, he almost stepped on me with those heavy hooves. No one is safe. With tears in her eyes, little Patty Piglet said, I heard I was going to be eaten by Farmer Fred. I'm scared. Pork Chop said in a soft and soothing tone, Don't worry, my friends. By the evening feed, by Farmer Fred, Bill the bullying bull will become our buddy. And I couldn't find any words on that first page I've just read, the previous page. So I'll just move straight back onto, I'll just show you just in case you're a bit lost. This page that starts with Dorothy Duck, and kind of near the end of that page, the first line of the last paragraph of that page, the word soothing. So this means that you're having a gently calming effect. So Pork Chop is talking in a soothing voice. He is trying to calm down the other animals. And so he's being gentle, he's being soft to try and calm everybody down. Okay, the next page. Bill was having so much fun. He certainly was the boss of the barnyard. He looked around and saw a big barn with open doors, and he just had to let whoever lived there know that he was the boss of the barnyard. It was a bright sunny day, but as Bill walked into the dark barn, he couldn't see anything. This frightened him a little. He turned the corner around the door and boom! He was stopped in mid-stride. Bill realised that he had just walked into something really big, so big it didn't move when he walked into it. Next page. As Bill's eyes adjusted to the darkness in the barn, he started to see what had stopped him. He was looking at the chest of some big animal. Bill was scared. As he looked up, he could see the biggest bull with the biggest horns staring down at him. A voice like thunder filled the barn. I finally get to meet Bill, the boss of the barnyard. Now Bill didn't know what to do or what to say. All he could do was look up at this giant and wonder what would happen next. There was silence in the barn for several minutes as Bill just looked up in amazement. Finally, the big bull said something. So, I didn't find any words that might be difficult in that first page, so let's just move to this page here. The word adjusted. So that means that you have to adapt, that his eyes are having to adapt to this new light, this new situation, in order for him to be able to see. So I'm sure you know that if you go from a really bright place to a really dark place, you won't be able to see anything straight away. Your eyes have to adjust. They have to kind of change the way they are. They have to kind of alter a little bit in order for you to be able to see. And if you give it a few seconds, a minute or so, you'll be able to start seeing things in the dark. And you just need to give it time to adjust. And that's what happened to Bill's eyes as well. Okay, next page. I am Brian Bull and have lived on Farmer Fred's farm for many, many years. In all those years, never have the other animals asked me for help, but today they came to me with a story of a big bull that was bullying them, and they asked me to put an end to it. I agreed. Bill was never ever so frightened. Brian could toss him across the barnyard with little effort and one push from his head. Brian slowly lowered his head. Bill looked down and began to shake. Brian got closer and whispered into Bill's ear, "What do you think I should do, Bill? I promise you the animals I will put a stop to your bullying." Next page. Please believe me, Brian. You have, Bill said in a truly honest voice. I have never been so frightened in my life, and I know how the other animals must have felt. Bill began to sob a little. I now know how it feels to be bullied, and you didn't even really bully me. I've learned my lesson. I will go out and apologize to all the animals and ask them to forgive me. Okay, so again, didn't find anything in that first page there, so I'll move on to the one that starts with "Please believe me, Brian." And it's the end of the second paragraph, the word sob, and that means cry noisily. So that's a bit of a sob. So at this point, Bill is crying very noisily because he's so scared. And then we have the word apologise, and apologise means to say sorry, to ask someone for forgiveness. So if you say sorry, you're asking for their forgiveness, and it's an apology. Next page. You don't have to, Brian said. You already have. As Bill turned around, he saw all the other animals standing in the doorway. Next page. Here, pig, pig, pig. Come on, chick, chick. The animals heard Farmer Fred calling them for their evening feed. And I'll do the next page as well because it's so short. Pork Chop walked over to Bill and said, "Come on, buddy, let's eat." Okay, so there weren't any other words there, but that is the end of the book. I thought that was a really good story, actually, really nice. I like that one. So, I just, as usual, I have a few questions just to test your knowledge of the story. Don't worry, I'm not going to mark them, I'm not going to see them or anything. It's just for your knowledge, just for your benefit. First question, what did Bill say to the pigs to scare them? What did Bill say to the pigs to scare them? What did Bill say to the pigs to scare them? Give you a couple of minutes to find that. Okay, so the answer that I'm looking for is on this page here. I'll show you it. Just because I don't have page numbers, so it's just easier if I show you. It looks like that. So there's Bill, and then there's the pigs running, well, not running away, but they're just kind of standing around in the grass. So what did Bill say to the pigs to scare them? This is the answer. I heard Farmer Fred say that he needed some bacon for breakfast and ham for dinner. So I heard Farmer Fred say that he needed some bacon for breakfast and ham for dinner. So that is the answer there. The second question. What did Roger Ram do to Bill? What did Roger Ram do to Bill? It's not much further on than the pig question. So if you just move along a few pages, you'll probably find it. What did Roger Ram do to Bill? Okay, what did Roger Ram do to Bill? So it's this page here. And it says that Roger Ram rammed Bill between his horns. And even though Bill insulted him and said that he was weak and that he rammed like a ewe, that's what he did. He rammed bullying Bill between his horns. That's what Roger Ram did. And the final question I have for you is, what made Bill stop bullying? The final question I have for you is, what made Bill stop bullying? And it's towards the end of the book. What made Bill stop bullying? And I think the answer to this might be over 2 different pages. So I think it would start on this page that starts with I am Brian Bull, and then move on to the page after that. I think that's where it starts. And so how did what made Bill stop bullying? So Bill met Brian the bull, who was much bigger than Bill. So Bill thought he was the biggest animal on the farm, and he wasn't, because he's just met Brian the bull, who's much bigger than him. And Brian scared Bill. So he realised how horrible it must have been for the other animals to be scared of him. So he apologised because he didn't want to bully anymore. He knew what that fear felt like, so he didn't want that anymore. And that's why he stopped bullying. I really enjoyed this book. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for and I hope you enjoyed it, basically. And I really hope to see you next time. I hope you're all okay. I miss you all. I miss seeing you all. But yeah, I hope you're hope you're all okay, and I hope you're finding these sessions useful. So have a lovely day. Bye.